You hear this story all the time, right? Someone gets fed up with their job, quits to chase a dream, and lives happily ever after. Well, this is a story about what happens when that dream hits a brick wall called reality. It's about someone who learned a tough lesson, so maybe you don't have to. This quote right here, it's basically the key to this whole thing. It's that hard truth that a lot of us discover way too late, that passion and motivation are great, but without a solid system to back them up, you're just setting yourself up for a nightmare. All right, so let's meet our guy, Steve. And Steve's story is probably gonna sound familiar. He was stuck in that classic 9-to-5 grind, the one that just slowly sucks the soul out of you. And like so many of us, he saw a way out online. All these promises of freedom, of easy money. He got totally swept up in it. I mean, just look at this list. Does any of this ring a bell? The awful fluorescent lights, the commute that eats up hours of your day, that constant nagging pressure. It's that feeling of being completely and utterly trapped. And Steve, he was desperate for an escape hatch. And so, fueled by all those online gurus making it look so simple, he did it. He actually quit his job. No real backup plan, no safety net, just this raw belief that his passion and his motivation would be enough to carry him through. And this, my friends, is where the dream starts to get a little shaky. Now, it's not because Steve was lazy, far from it. The guy was working harder than he ever had in his life. The real problem was what he was building. He was building his new life on a foundation of what you might call fragile dreams. And here it is, the classic bait and switch. The promise online is all about easy money and being your own boss. But the reality for Steve, it was brutal 12-hour days with absolutely zero sales to show for it. Yeah, he was his own boss, but that also meant he was the one staring at a growing pile of unpaid bills. So where did all that hard work actually go? Well, have a look. The vast majority of his time was spent just trying to figure out these super complicated, trendy business models, dropshipping, crypto, Amazon FBA. Now, look at that tiny little sliver down there. That's his actual profit. He was pouring all of his energy into systems that just weren't built to pay him back. This is really the heart of the problem. This is what we call a fragile model. It's sky high on hype and complexity, but it's rock bottom when it comes to actual stable profit. Steve was running himself into the ground, but he was trapped inside a system that was basically broken from the start. And this is where it all ended up. The big dream of financial freedom came crashing down to this. Staring at a bank account with $1.75. I mean, that's not even enough for a coffee. That's rock bottom. And right there, in that moment, he realized something had to be fundamentally wrong. Not with him, but with his entire approach. But hitting rock bottom can be a powerful thing. That realization was his turning point. He stopped chasing, he stopped panicking, and he just started thinking. He changed the one fundamental question he was asking himself, and that tiny little shift, well, it changed everything. And this was it. This was the big mental shift. He completely stopped asking, how do I get rich? And instead, he started asking, what problem can I solve for somebody? See the difference? It's a move from chasing trends to actually creating value. This new way of thinking led him to create a powerful new principle for himself, and we're going to call it the Zippy rule. It's so simple, but it's brilliant. If a business idea needs a perfect website, a perfect product, and a perfect launch just to make its very first dollar, it's a fragile model, and you should just skip it. So, instead of all that complicated stuff from before, he adopted this dead simple 3-step formula. Step 1, develop one useful, maybe even kind of boring skill. Step 2, find people who actually need that skill. And Step 3, make them a simple, straightforward offer. That's it.
And this is where the after picture really begins. No more hype, no more burning the midnight oil for nothing. Just a simple focus on solving simple, boring problems, day in and day out. And the power of that consistency, it's surprising.
So what was his revolutionary new business? Anything glamorous? Nope, not at all. He just learned how to help local contractors, plumbers, electricians, you name it, manage their incoming customer leads. That's it. No viral videos, no flashy products. Just solving a real, everyday problem for a real business. And would you look at the result? This wasn't some overnight explosion. It wasn't a get-rich-quick chart. It was steady. It was predictable. It was sustainable growth. 1 client became 4, and 4 became 10. This is what building a business on a solid foundation actually looks like. So let's just put these two approaches side by side for a second. The fragile models, they're all about chasing trends, which leads to volatile, unpredictable results and a ton of risk. The Zippy model, it's about solving problems, and that leads to steady, predictable growth and way, way less risk. He was finally getting paid for the hours he was putting in.
And this brings us to what might be the most important takeaway from Steve's whole story. His initial failure, it wasn't a character flaw. It wasn't because he was lazy or not smart enough. It was because the system he chose was designed to fail from the get-go.
I mean, this just says it all, doesn't it? So many people who try to start their own thing burn out and they blame themselves. But the truth is, more often than not, they just picked a business model that was too fragile to survive in the real world. It's a design flaw, not a personal one. So, if this story is hitting home for you and you're just tired of all the fake motivation out there, the source for this whole explainer is Zippy Digital Side Hustlers. They focus on real, actionable lessons just like this one. So we'll leave you with this one question to think about. Take a good, hard look at what you're building or what you're thinking of building. Is it based on hype and complexity, or is it based on solving a real, simple problem for someone? Is your system fragile, or is it actually built to last?